You guys remember when there was a super saturation of sci-fi movies in space? I mean, you had Star Trek, you had Stargate, you had Hercules in space, you had Jewish people in space. Every single TV show coming up was in space. A lot of people got bored. And then people moved to something else. They moved to zombies, zombie apocalypse. And you have The Walking Dead, you have Fear the Walking Dead, you have Zombieland, and you have like this really bizarre TV show where it's about romance and she's a zombie. Yes, a zombie romance TV show. People are disturbed, they're sick in the head nowadays. But anyway, I digress. I understand that this is the zombie stack overflow, and yet here I am recommending that you watch a zombie movie because it's that good. I am willing to bet and put money on the fact that you will actually enjoy this TV show. And it's done by Netflix. Can you imagine? I am actually recommending to you something done by Netflix, and I am telling you that it is good. I haven't seen a show so good in a long while, and I am honestly taken aback. Now, despite the fact that the show is Korean, so you're going to see a lot of Korean actors, it doesn't have diversity in it, at least not the Californian type of diversity. So nothing is forced there. You're, at least as far as I have gotten to see, I haven't seen the check mark that Westerners go through. It's like, oh, did we have the gay character yet? Oh, did you add the black guy, but make sure he doesn't do anything negative because we don't want to be accused of stereotype. It doesn't have that. It's just a brilliant story filled with political intrigue, filled with levels of brutality that the Westerner filmmaker is not capable of. It manages to actually encompass what an authoritarian regime looks like to the people. The whole ethos of the story is how politicians go about their way and worry about maintaining their power while the people are suffering. They're going through unimaginable pain. And the leaders, all they care is to maintain their seat of power. So I'm going to spoil a little bit from the first episode just so you can understand what the show is all about and give you a little bit of snippets. So if you haven't seen it, just listen to me and maybe I'll pique your interest. The king has been turned into a zombie, and he is being kept alive by the queen because if she manages to keep him alive until she gives birth, her son is going to be the rightful heir. So she manages to keep him in secret and hides him from his other son, which goes on through the country in order to investigate and try to find out why he is not allowed to see his father. He then gets accused of treason, and he travels through the land and gets to see how people actually live compared to what life was like in the castle. And there are a lot of moral dilemmas that are being presented. The country just came out from a big war, and people are starving. There is a famine going on. And there's this beautiful scene at a hospital where someone manages to finally give the patients meat. And everyone is happy. And one of the nurses there asks the guy, like, how did you manage to get a hold of meat? And he says, well, I hunted a deer in the woods. And she is taken aback because all these people, they are very conservative in nature. So basically, they can't even conceive the idea of going against the king. So he says, well, I'm not going to ask permission from the king to die. And this is already like some just bizarre way of thinking. Like, when is your honor, sir? You know, it's better to die than to hunt a deer in the woods without permission. But eventually the nurse comes around and she starts feeding people. And as she is going through the soup, she finds a finger. Basically, the guy didn't kill a deer. He took one of the dead and fed it to people. So she has another conversation with him. And the guy tells the nurse, how do you think the people down south survive? Do you think it's from the kindness of their majesty? No, they survive because of the flesh and bones of their dead neighbors. So you have to deal with the situation and don't expect help from anyone. And like the acting is so good. It is just spot on. It's beautiful. I'm not going to give you any more details of what happens. You have to see the first episode yourself. But also, what I loved is the focus on tradition that the people in that kingdom have, and the sheer brutality of the regime. There is very little room for excuses. You can get killed just for doing your job. Like, for example, the servants of the heir get killed simply because the heir escapes the palace and they didn't know about it. So the Princess Guard doesn't even care. They were supposed to know about it, and just because they don't know, tough luck. Another example is right in the beginning, you get to see some of the brutality of the regime when some people put a couple of posters up where they say that the king is dead and they need to pledge allegiance to the crown prince. So what the royal guard does is they round up all of the people that could write within that area and they start torturing them. And they also behead the guardsmen that were supposed to guard that town for not noticing that the posters were put up in the middle of the night. Like, you're going to experience some of the brutality from the Middle Ages that you didn't even think possible. And I don't think we see something like this in Western TV shows. And this is why it's so new and so refreshing to me that I get to see a different point of view. You know, if you look at Marvel and you look at Disney and you look at all the Western TV shows, they keep saying, fascism bad, fascism evil, but they never actually show why it's bad. They never actually show why it's evil. And I think like in this show, you legitimately get to see all of that. Oh, and by the way, the evil character is a woman. She makes Cersei look like an angel. She genuinely manages to be this evil character that you legitimately want to see fail. Just like, I remember the last person that made me want to see get killed in a TV show was Joffrey. And maybe Skyler from Breaking Bad. But, you know, like, the actors are so good. Like, I genuinely think when you manage to legitimately hate an actor, is that they're doing a really good job playing that role. So, yeah. I really, really love the first episode. You know, maybe down the line, maybe by episode 5 or 6, I'll be disappointed. I don't know. My girlfriend was watching this, and I just cut a couple of scenes from it, and I thought, wow, that's really good, and the cinematography isn't bad. You know, like, I generally want them to succeed because the market is just overflown with Californian Hollywoodian bullshit. I am sick and tired of seeing like the same movie formula over and over again, non-interesting, bland, and boring. And this is just something new. It's just something refreshing. You know, a different take from a different culture. But then again, maybe it's because when I was a kid, I liked a lot of Chinese movies. And, you know, this is close enough. You get to see a lot of samurais and swords and flying heads and all of that. So I definitely liked it. And yeah, I wanna see them succeed. And to be honest, if this movie was made in the West, you'd already probably have critics going on around about how, oh, this has misogyny, oh, there's not enough representation for minorities and blah, blah, blah. You know, but seems that Koreans don't give a shit. They just wanted to make a good movie, and it's a good movie so far. I understand it's got 2 seasons, so they're going to make a season 3. And the best thing is that it's not very popular, so a lot of the cultural critics haven't latched onto it. They probably haven't latched onto it because they know that the producers don't care about their opinion. You know, like, usually these cultural critics are like environmentalists. Like, they only nag and complain to countries that they know are going to listen. Like, you're not going to see Greta Thunberg going to China, for example, because she knows the Chinese don't give a shit. So they're going to lecture and preach the people that are willing to listen, which is the West. And it's the same with the cultural critics. You know, they're not going to lecture and preach Korea about. I hope it's Korean, by the way. I definitely know it's not Chinese and not Japanese, so by the exclusion. But yeah, let me know what you think. And honestly, just give it a shot. Trust me. Just give it a shot. Watch a little bit of it. If you like Game of Thrones, if you liked Attack on Titan, if you liked any of these shows based around political intrigue and mystery, I guarantee to you, you're going to love the shit out of this one, and you will thank me for it.